Just a week away from the brand new season, and it's back in the company of Charlie McCann, live from Gibraltar, and John Richardson, live from his attic somewhere, don't know where. Where are you, Rico?
Hardly near Cheshire, England.
I'm in Formby.
Was it your tweet I saw that the boss has got a new album out?
Well, I've retweeted somebody. It said that a single is supposed to, you remember them, singles? That's supposed to come out next week with an album end of October, but I've not seen anything else. I know he's going berserk, being holed up, in his ranch. I mean, he's desperate to get out there, but, we're in a different world, aren't we?
I suppose that, to be fair, I guess it's given him time. There's nothing else to do, is sit down and write some songs.
He normally writes about 10 songs every week anyway, so how many he's got in the store cupboard now. I mean, he's just prolific, writer. So anyway, I'm hoping.
Okay, he's not in Spain. In fact, he's a billion miles from Spain, even though he's just across the water. What's the word about Lionel Messi down there, Charlie McCann?
I'm actually in Formby.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm in Formby. I wouldn't know any more than anybody else on Lionel Messi. I think he obviously wants to go to Manchester City. I think Barcelona are digging their heels in. It is all getting a bit messy, isn't it? I think surely there should be some resolution sooner rather than later. I'd like him in the Premier League. If I were Jurgen Klopp, I wouldn't be that bothered at a 33-year-old who's obviously been the GOAT. I think he's, I'd call him the GOAT. But he is 33 years of age, and, he's a fantastic signing. If he comes to the Premier League, I would like it to have been 5 years ago, though, if I was being brutally honest. But good luck to City if they think that is the way forward for them as a club.
Rico, could he do it on a freezing cold night in January in Stoke?
I don't think he'll get the chance. Honestly, I can't see it panning out. I fear the end of all this, he'll remain at Barcelona. I think something will be worked out. We're going to build the team around you, we're going to spend this, going to do that. I mean, deep down, I don't think he really wants to move away from where he is now in Barcelona for family reasons. But obviously, he's got frustrated. I mean, we all saw him, didn't we, after that 8-2? He looked devastated. He looked embarrassed. I think he made up his mind then. I'm not going to put up with this. I want something happening. As we all know, he doesn't get on with the current president, although the current president is under investigation for alleged corruption, isn't he? Well, that's broken today. So, Barcelona, as Charlie said, it is a messy. It's a right messy. If I was a gambling man, which I'm not, I think he'll stay at Barcelona.
At the same time, Charlie, it comes to all great sides. I mean, there's not been much planning, in fairness to Barcelona. I mean, it's not a shambles. Suarez is going, Busquets, all these guys, Piqué, they've all aged at the wrong time, all aged together. And, I mean, it's just not Barcelona, is it? Certainly not the Barcelona we know, what we saw in the recent Champions League.
No, it's not. It's I've never been a Griezmann fan. It's a simple, and they spent a lot of money on Antoine Griezmann as the sort of to replace Suarez, to replace Messi in time. And I'm sorry, he's hardly the heir apparent for me. I'm not a great fan. I think Busquets has been one of the great, and Piqué, as you say, they have been not good players. They've been fantastic players. I think Busquets especially, I don't think is as, I think, accepted as in England and in Britain as the great player he is. I remember, watching him vividly that when Liverpool, let's get it right, when Liverpool won the Champions League and they won that dramatic game at Anfield, Liverpool didn't deserve to get beat 3-0 in the Nou Camp. Liverpool were almost every bit as good, and it was only that late free kick from the great man. But I thought Busquets held them together there. But you could almost see they were cracking then, and to go to Anfield and be so naive at that corner kick and things like that, and to concede 4. No, that great Pep Guardiola side who tore Manchester United apart in, I think it was 13, into that would, and they have been the rate of decline is quite dramatic at the moment, but it has been for some time, despite, of course, the fact that they've won the La Liga title, apart from this year, of course. But no, I think it's a big job for Koeman as well. Whether he's up to it, I don't know. If you said to me that Gini Wijnaldum was the answer as well, no, he isn't. No, he isn't. Of course, he's a good player. But he goes. I was watching the Community Shield. And he gets a kick every 20 minutes, and when he does it square, he can't really hurt me. And I think Liverpool will do well to get rid of him now. It's quite a but you've got to be. Shankly used to get rid of some great players. You've got to move them on, and of course, if Barcelona are in for Wijnaldum, I think this is the ideal time. But of course, Liverpool will not be resting on the money. They will want to, and I think this guy from Bayern Munich, I know he's getting on a bit, and it's not really a Liverpool signing in that respect, but I think he's a fabulous player. Fabulous.
We'll talk signings in just a second. Last one, Rico, on Barcelona. Does Messi wield too much power? I mean, the way the whole thing is run, it's almost like the tail wagging the dog, isn't it? Even for a great club like Barcelona, even for a great player like Lionel Messi.
Charlie summed it up. It is a complete shambles, and older players have been allowed to just go past their sell-by date. Messi is the powerhouse there, and this is another power struggle. Now, you listen to people who say, oh, no, this is genuine. He does want to go. This isn't him trying to get one over the president, although I think deep down it is. And I think that it is a complete shambles. And how a club like that is allowed to get to this stage is incredible, really, because, they have brought in some younger players, but they haven't been good enough. You've always got to keep on building. We was fantastic at that at Manchester United. They won things, but the next season, the next summer, new players came in. And, we touched on Liverpool. I worry a little bit about Liverpool, I think there's something strange going on there. The manager, Jurgen Klopp, has wanted two players, right, who've both gone to Chelsea. Now, how long is he going to stand for that? There does appear to be a money issue at Liverpool, which is very strange. All right, they're always keeping within the means, which is fine. But I think you've got to move on. And I just worry a little bit about what's going on at Liverpool behind the scenes.
I'm with you all the way, and it's our next topic of conversation. What yourself and Charlie had touched on with Gini Wijnaldum, and you mentioned the great Bill Shankly. The one thing Liverpool and great sides have always done is when they're on top, they've always added from a position of strength. And Charlie, I mean, I know they've got the great front three, but I think Liverpool fans everywhere are a little bit worried. I mean, they've not really played well, Liverpool. Before lockdown, they were struggling. I don't think teams have worked them out. They just feel like they need some young blood, some exciting players to come in and just lift it a bit.
Yes, yeah, and I was disappointed with Nico Williams at Wembley. I've got to be honest. I thought he was, one of the reasons why Klopp was right. Okay, we've got to integrate this guy, if not into the starting 11. He's more, and I was disappointed with him. Yeah, he showed Aubameyang the line late on, but it was a schoolboy sort of error. Even when Curtis Jones came on as well, I thought, hang on a minute, he didn't sort of fire them up. Naby Keita was maybe the one who, but no, there's no question that they need. This is between now and the end of the beginning of October, and the transfer window is a big time, I think, for Liverpool. I think we all expect, what John was saying there about, the disquiet, when you read about Sadio Mane, I don't know, whether he still has sort of an axe to grind with. I think we all think that he thinks Salah gets maybe preferential treatment with the selection, with substitutions and things like that. And whether he thinks going to Real Madrid would be numero uno. I wonder, but it is a big week. It is a big week for them, and I'm looking forward to the Leeds game, and Leeds, this exciting young midfield player as well, who, fascinating thing, never played for England in any and then you get to call up for the. We all knew about him, but you know, to go straight into the England squad, I hope he gets some minutes as well. Looking forward to seeing him. Looking forward to see. I always think if you're a good player, you can play at Anfield. You know, that's why some of these, you know, these Everton, the weekend teams, you know, 3 or 4, but we go to Anfield and you just fold like a pack of cards. And I think it's a good barometer for any football. You know?
I wondered how long.
Just to get it underneath.
I was going to say, I wondered how long it would be before Everton got a mention, even a negative mention. But last one on Liverpool. You're waiting for Nico Williams. He's a young guy. You've got to give him time. But yet Charlie's absolutely spot on. Curtis Jones, are Williams, are Jones, are these guys good enough to replace what otherwise would be 45, 50 million top class world star signings?
Well, judging on last season's form, Nico Williams definitely. But judging on this season's form, I watched him last night. He came on as a substitute for Wales. Although he was played way up, he's played as a right winger. He's not a right winger. He's still a right back moving forward. And I still think he's a good player, but he's been disappointing. I agree with Charlie. He's disappointing in the Community Shield. I think, he maybe have a lull. You know, they do, don't they? They come in and they go off again. But I think he is quality. Curtis Jones, I think, is a very good player as well. But I think Liverpool need a big signing. I think they need
a couple.
Yeah, but definitely one big one, just to get everyone going. You know, I'm not suggesting it should be Gareth Bale because he was a disaster last night. I mean, he obviously hasn't played, but somebody, a bit of a surge of energy, somebody to put the front three on their toes, because let's face it, they're automatic picks every week. No, they shouldn't be. There should be competition. And I think Liverpool need a big signing. I think Jurgen Klopp knows that.
At the same time as well, I mean, actually, there's loads to go at here. I'm looking at the fixture list. I spoke to Stephen Reid, ex-West Brom, Burnley, and Republic of Ireland, now Scotland assistant manager. And we were talking about the fixture list and the effect it'll have on players. I mean, everybody knows it's different circumstances at the moment. You've got an EFL Cup, you've got Nations League football before the season started, you've got leagues, you've got FA Cups, you've got World Club Championships, you've got European Championships around the corner. I don't care how much money you earn, but Sadio Mane, who is a freak in a way, Firmino, and so all the top players eventually will just be knackered. That's the bottom line.
Well, FIFA, sorry, Charlie, go on.
No. Sorry, I would just, I concur with that, and that is why, talk of Brewster going back on loan. I can't have that. No, I can't have it at all. Especially not to a Premier League club. No chance.
You've got more players now in a squad than you've ever needed before, and good players as well. There's just the football. I don't know how they can fit it in. And, the players must be, look, God rest his soul. Gary Speed once said to me, we sat on Goals on Sunday, and I said, be honest, when do players start looking forward to their summer holiday? And he went, about the beginning of October, he said. And I just thought, it was so honest. And I'm thinking, those players everywhere must be going, well, I've got nation, and that's before you're off to Brazil and to New Zealand and Australia. I mean, seriously, there's going to be so many injuries that the quality will suffer. I don't care how much money they earn. It's too much. Me, anyway.
I did a story the other week, funny enough, quoting the secretary from FIFPro, the European Players Organisation. And he's warning of burnout. He says, this can't go on. Players have been asked...
Can't go on.
Sorry?
It can't go on.
Can't go on, no. He's saying, players can't keep on playing every 2 or 3 days. I know they probably prefer to play than train, but it's too much. I mean, Charlie knows the horses. You couldn't do this with a horse, could you? I mean, it's too much for everybody.
You'd have animal welfare on.
Yeah. Well, often less is more.
We would.
No?
We would.
Too many games.
I must say, as it's been decided, I appreciate there is definitely going to be a League Cup. I just presumed something.
Well, I hope so, Charlie. I'm going to a game tomorrow.
That puts that one to bed.
The only thing they've done is they're cutting back on the two-legged semi-final. So replays in the FA Cup. But okay, moving on. Charlie, has the Nations League gripped you?
Thought it was very good. Last time, no, I remember to say the Croatia game, and I thought when I first read about it, I said these fellas are completely bonkers. Why do we need this? This is crazy. And so I'm sorry, it was very, very competitive. All the games were, and I'm sorry, write down all the tiers that you didn't. You know, when you think that the group England were in last year, there were friendlies. You know, let's get it right. We this year, you know, I want to see England versus Iceland and things like that, when, you know, the silky skills of Gylfi apart. God, I can't take it. No is the answer. But the first one, and the timing of this, of course, it's all
Yes.
And that is not the Nations League or UEFA's fault. But I did enjoy. And I think everybody, you know, if we can, you know, if you look back on it, they were good games. They were really good games, and I thoroughly enjoyed them. But no, it's only really the timing. I thought it was an unqualified success, the first. Whether in a few months' time I'm going to say the same things, probably not. But that wouldn't be UEFA's fault. That would be, you know, the unprecedented times we're in.
Rico, you've covered an awful lot of international football. Charlie's right. It beefed up what have been sort of like meaningless friendlies. But I guess it's just a situation we're in where timing isn't perfect.
No, I do like the concept of the Nations League, because, you know, you have so-called equal countries. But again, too much football. It's come at the wrong time. I mean, you could see that last night with the Wales game. A lot of players weren't up to speed. It's a good concept, but it's just adding to the confusion, really. Too many games, but I do like it.
Okay, let's look forward to we're going to be chatting next week ahead of the Premier League kickoff. Chelsea, they've gone spending mad, haven't they? I know they were banned from a couple of transfer windows, but you know, Kai Havertz come in, Timo Werner, Ben Chilwell, and the one for me and Thiago Silva. What are your takes on that, Rico?
I think it's transformed them into title challengers. I think they're all very good signings, and I think the best one is probably the one you mentioned at the end there, Rob. I think that Thiago Silva will just mould everybody together. You know, I know he's 35, obviously past his best years, but he's still a decent player. He's a good organiser. Everybody says he's a good trainer. You know, he's, I think, a fantastic. I like all the signings. I think Kai Havertz is way overpriced, but aren't they all these days? I think I'm not too certain about him. I'm more certain about all the others. I think Ben Chilwell's a good player. Ziyech from Ajax, I've always liked. You know, a winger coming in who scores goals. Timo Werner proved again, didn't he, with Germany against Spain, that he's there. I think they are very good signings, but Chelsea desperately need a goalkeeper, because if they don't get a decent goalkeeper, then a lot of this work will be wasted. But yeah, I see them as real title challengers.
Charlie, do you feel that somehow Chelsea undervalue N'Golo Conte, and how valuable might he be, bearing in mind Inter Milan, Antonio Conte is desperate to try and get him?
I think he'll go.
In the world, he just does too many. I just don't know. I can't get my head around Chelsea and N'Golo.
Is he becoming more injury prone? Frank Lampard is obviously wants to build a younger sort of side. Is he thinking Declan Rice in, N'Golo Conte to Antonio Conte at Internazionale? I think that looks a sort of fit. You get the impression maybe N'Golo Conte, but yeah, I mean, gee, when he was the footballer of the year. He was when Leicester City won the title race. That was when he was at his zenith. That's when he was 2 or 3 players in that midfield. He was absolutely brilliant. But he's been less influential, let's get it right, in Chelsea recently, because he doesn't play often. And whether Frank had seen this in training and thought, I can get X million pound for this guy, honestly, Chelsea fans, believe me, he won't play that many games for us this year, and I would like to get Declan Rice in. Sorry, that's my take on what it is. But at his peak of his powers, he was a great player, an absolutely it's not a French World Cup winner, it goes without saying, but he was top draw.
Can we just talk about Everton? James Rodriguez on his way. Alan from Napoli. Anthony Gordon signed a 5-year contract. And Abdoulaye Doucouré. Are we happy with what Everton are trying to do?
Well, I don't know if Charlie is.
Well, yeah. The James Rodriguez signing makes no sense to me. But again, Carlo Ancelotti knows the player. He obviously has been, in that 2014 World Cup, with the great goal aside, he was a very good player. I don't know where he'll play. We're not, whether he thinks he'll play in behind Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, or whether we play one of those and maybe Richarlison wide on the left, or indeed Calvert-Lewin. It's the midfield to me that we need legs around Andre Gomez, and is Allen and Doucouré. That to me is more significant. I would want them rather than James Rodriguez. I've got to be honest. Tom Davis, Fabian Delph aren't good enough. Fabian Delph, I'm sure, at his peak when he was at Leeds and Manchester City, to a less extent, was a good player, but he's again another injury prone. We can't rely on him. Doucouré, you know what you get with Doucouré. He puts a shift in. He's limited, but he got relegated. Allen, I'm sorry, I don't really know enough about, but again, I believe his Opta stats are quite good, and he will stick a foot in, and he's got legs. But no, I'm not. Do any of these signings excite me? No.
No. Does Jeff Hendrick excite you, Rico?
No. I've seen a lot of Burnley, and I don't think I've given him more than 6 ever. He's just an ordinary player. No, back to Everton. I think this is Mashouri's last throw of the dice, basically. I think if this doesn't work, this later spending, and obviously Carlo Ancelotti has been moving it rather than Marcel Brands. I think these are Ancelotti's signings. I think if this doesn't work, then I think Mashouri will take the bat and ball home. But I don't agree with John. I think they are, all 3 of them, very good signings. I think James Rodriguez is a top player, and he's just waiting to...
Can you see James Rodriguez, honestly, doing it on a rainy night in Stoke in November? Because I can't. I've got to be honest with you.
He's a classy player. Allen is a ball winner. He's a defensive midfielder. Good player. Doucouré I've always liked. I think he's box-to-box energy. The only worry I have in all this, I know that Everton are trying to palm off Tom Davis to Newcastle. That should make my day.
Jeff Hendrick, Tom Davis in that midfield. Brilliant. You're rocking.
Dear me. And Ryan Fraser is likely to come in as well. Newcastle were hoping to, go to Harrods for their shopping, under the Saudi Arabia mob. Now we're at Aldi.
Okay, boys. We're going to have a look at all the games next week as we have a Premier League preview. Before we go though, Charlie, I've got to pick out, because there's only one performance of the week, and that was Ian Cobain's 87 for Gloucester in the T20. Tell us about Ian Cobain, because he's the one Everton success of the pre-season.
He is, yeah. I was with his dad last night, and I was actually out in town in Liverpool. It was at his 60th birthday party and my brother kept texting me saying, "Are you watching Cowie? Are you watching Cowie?" He's my godson, and so thrilled for him. So thrilled for him. He spent the lockdown in Hightown. His wife's just had a baby as well, 3-month-old baby, and his dad, Ian Senior, who played for Lancashire, of course, couldn't see Leo. So when I need you, he might have been conceived under thunder in my heart or something like that. But anyway, that's another story, I suppose. but you know, he just plays sort of T20. I was asking him, you know, if he, you know, this he's got to do it in the shop window going forward. He's no spring chicken, but he hasn't got a contract. I think Niall O'Brien said on Sky that he had a contract. He's been offered a contract at Gloucester. He hasn't signed it. He will be, I think, that a sort of player who goes to the different T20 franchises now, sort of globally, and but a wonderful fielder as well, and a wonderful striker. And of course, you know, T20, I saw Somerset get 230, 229 yesterday, but that was a pop gun attack. It really was a poor, Worcester team. That was a good team that Coe scored the runs against, Oliver Stone and things like that. But no, he's you know, a brutal lad, and as you say, one of the very, very few successes of successful Evertonians. But you never know. Martin Dwyer, another Evertonian, he might ride the St Ledger winner this time next week at Doncaster. So you never know.
Hey, listen, Charlie, Rico, great talking to you. We'll have a preview of the Premier League next week. Take care, fellas.
Look forward to it.
See you, Rob.
All right.